We here at the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services and North Carolina State University provide information that promotes and improves agriculture, agribusiness, and forests, protect consumers and businesses, and conserve farmland and natural resources for the prosperity of all North Carolinians. In this video, you will learn how to identify trouble spots, food contact surfaces, and difficult areas to reach and clean within a packing house. It is important to assess the design materials, construction, and installation of your food contact equipment to ensure the equipment itself is not a point of possible contamination. Cross-contamination is when a food item, such as produce, is accidentally contaminated with pathogens of concern from a different food item, water, surface, or other object. A worker could cross-contaminate produce by not washing their hands after using the toilet, and then handling produce. So it is vital to instill proper hygiene practices in all workers. Food contact surfaces are those that produce comes directly in contact with and must be cleaned and sanitized as frequently as necessary to prevent contamination of produce. Some of these surfaces may be hard to identify and difficult to reach. Cleaning is the physical removal of dirt, debris, and soil and can be done either using soap and water or by simply using a brush or air without the introduction of water. All surfaces should be cleaned when they become visibly dirty. Sanitation is the reduction of microorganisms to a safe level using an approved sanitizer according to the label instructions and must be done to clean surfaces. According to the Produce Safety Rule, you must inspect, maintain, and clean, and when necessary and appropriate, sanitize all food contact surfaces of equipment and tools used in covered activities as frequently as reasonably necessary to protect against contamination of covered produce. Identifying and keeping trouble spots clean on equipment and food contact surfaces that are difficult to reach and clean are key to ensuring your equipment will not result in any unwanted contamination of produce. There are many areas of equipment to pay special attention to, such as welds, flaps, brushes, underside of belt, spray nozzles, hoses connected to spray nozzles, and hollow belt rollers. For example, debris that builds up on the inside of a flap or cover could fall directly onto the product, or if the produce piles up on the line, it would then be in direct contact with the inside of the cover. Here we will demonstrate a few key areas to focus on.
This particular piece of curtain, you have to take these nuts and bolts off here to remove this. By replacing these nuts and bolts with quick releases, it will allow you to access this much easier and quicker. On this particular pack line, we have some PVC rollers which are used to convey produce from one side to the other of this particular pack line. And these PVC rollers are hollow. They have a connecting rod that runs through them. And this area is a great place for residues and moisture to accumulate, which makes cleaning and sanitation of these food contact surfaces very difficult. All right, so as we go through and we assess our pack line equipment, we do see these common polyarticulating belts that are interlocking. These belts are very common and they're very efficient for moving produce across a pack line. However, when they are put together with a plastic connection, it creates a lot of spaces that are hard for cleaning and sanitation. As you're assessing your pack line equipment for sanitation, cleaning and sanitation purposes, you'll see a lot of common materials used like this polyfibrous belt here. And with these polyfibrous belts, they will actually wick up moisture up into the back of the belt as some of these fibrous materials become more exposed. As you can see, you'd have to unbolt each one of these screws to remove this. So having quick release and having access to be able to remove these nuts and bolts for adequate cleaning purposes.
Pause the video and identify all the food contact surfaces. Identifying food contact surfaces in your packing house and then keeping them cleaned and sanitized is an important step in preventing produce from becoming contaminated. Take the knowledge you have gained from this video to assess the packing house you work in, as well as train employees and keep records of cleaning and sanitation practices. Reach out to the NCDA&CS and the NC State Extension for additional resources to help your farm run as safely as possible.